Hello, viewers. This is SRR TV out of New York City live, and my name is Omoyele Shore. As you are all aware, there was some controversial ruling in Netherlands during the week where Shell, the Royal Dutch Shell, the oil company that has been involved in a lot of destruction of the environment, killing of people in Nigeria, and of course, continuous spoilage of the ecosystem in the Niger Delta region of Nigeria was exonerated, quote unquote, by a three-man panel in Netherlands during the week. And there has been a lot of reaction to that judgment. Shell, as you probably saw a little bit ago, said they were completely exonerated. In fact, they referred to the villagers as criminals who were stealing oil from their pipelines and that they were not responsible in any way. But the organization and people and activists who took Shell to court in Netherlands are saying that this is a major breakthrough because up until now, no court in the Netherlands has ever convicted or even issued any form of negative judgment against a multinational like Shell before. So what we decided to do today is to bring in one of the very prominent environmentalists in Nigeria, and we have Nimo Bassi, who's won so many prizes. The last one being the RAFTO Prize in 2012, and he's the president of the Environmental Rights Action in Nigeria. And so, Mr. Bassi, you are welcome to Sahara TV.
Thank you, Shawari.
Yes. So let's just go into this. You know, you heard Shell, and you probably have seen so many of their proclamations since this happened, claiming that this is just criminals stealing our oil from pipelines, and we have been exonerated by the courts in the Netherlands. What do you make of this pronouncement coming out of first the court and also Shell, Royal Dutch Shell officials?
Well, we don't agree with the assessment of Shell, and we don't agree with a lot of what the judgment said. First of all, we, in a sense, are happy that the Dutch court could not let Shell go off the hook on all the cases. We expected to win all. The villagers are going to appeal on the rest of the cases because the evidence is just so clear on the ground. I don't know what made the judges go the way they went on the case of Goi and the case of Oruma. Anybody who goes to Goi would see that it's one village that is completely deserted. No, not a single person lives in Goi community because of Shell's havoc. The havoc that Shell wreaked on that community, these oil spills and fire that destroyed huge hectares of mangrove forest, destroyed buildings. Because that was a spill in 2004 that was accompanied with a huge fire. The entire village was burned down. Fish ponds, bakeries, people's homes, schools, everything gone. If you go to Goi today, nobody lives there. And the Goi people are now refugees scattered through Ogoni land. And the people, you still find oil sheen on the waters in Goi community. And the people are still, those who still go back there, see what they can find in terms of picking up crabs or stuff, they're getting really polluted materials from that place. In the case of Oruma, the pipe that erupted in 2005 was buried 6 feet in the ground. It's not even a pipe that runs above the surface of the ground. That's roughly 1.8 meters beneath the surface of the ground. And the leakage was at the underside of that pipeline. And simple logic would show clearly, if somebody wants to sabotage a pipeline, you're not going to dig into the ground 6 feet, 2 meters, and then you don't bust the pipe from the top. You go it as if we're a rat or something. And so really this is very insulting to the intelligence of the people. We couldn't comprehend it. But we applauded the case, the verdict on the situation in Port Adaudo, because the last spill occurred in 2008 and was on for 3 months. Shell did nothing. It became a tourist attraction. For anybody who wanted to see pollution firsthand, that was a place to go. It was on national TV, on TV stations for 3 solid months. Nothing happened until the Nigerian Senate went to that location and made a call on Shell to stop the spill before they went to stop the spill. They stopped the spill, they've not cleaned it up, they've not cleaned the mess. So finding them guilty on that made was a good move. And as you said, we saw it as a groundbreaking ruling in the sense this was the first time a court in the Netherlands will hold a corporation like Shell guilty for misbehavior in a place as far away as Nigeria. But if you allow me,
Yes.
one of the early objections of Shell to the case, when the case was filed in 2008, was that this case had nothing to do with the Netherlands. That Royal Dutch Shell, which is the national headquarters of Shell, had nothing to do with what Shell Petroleum Development Corporation does in Nigeria. And of course, the court said that wasn't true. But you see, at the ruling, Royal Dutch Shell was kept away from any blame. Shell Petroleum Development Company in Nigeria is owned by Royal Dutch Shell.
Yes.
All the profits are in the Netherlands. But so they get all the profits, all the benefits, and they could attempt to wash their hands of the liabilities and the degradation reflected on Nigerian environment. Clearly unacceptable.
Yes, because I need to just buttress that to our viewers that I think Nigeria is one of the places where they make the most profit every year. So isn't it bizarre that the court will rule that these two organizations are not related when all the profits made from Niger Delta region is reflected in the statement of account of Royal Dutch Shell? Globally, this is worldwide. This is known worldwide that they make some of the biggest profits out of Nigeria every year. I'm talking about the Royal Dutch Shell.
Oh, yes, and they make so much money because they are completely reckless in the way they operate in the Nigerian environment.
Now let's go back to Nigeria, because people are going to be watching this and saying, how is it that the Nigerian judiciary has never been able to rule even remotely in favor of Nigerian people in these glaring cases of destruction of the environment, glaring cases of murder, glaring cases of conspiracy against anything that's living, any living thing in Nigeria? What is wrong with our judiciary? How come we can't get justice within our own judicial system, our court systems?
There are very huge gaps in the judicial system. But then the Niger Delta communities have been fighting tooth and nail peacefully, prosecuting Shell and the other oil companies in the court system in Nigeria. I'll give you one case. In 2005, the Federal High Court sitting in Benin City in Nigeria found Shell guilty of unconstitutional behavior by gas flaring, burning gas in the Werekan community in Delta State of Nigeria. And they were asked to stop flaring in that community. This was in November 2005. As we speak, there has been no appeal. Shell only said they had intention to appeal. They have not appealed against that judgment, and gas flaring is still going on at the Werekan community. Now, in that suit, we joined, both the community people joined both Shell and the Attorney General of Nigeria, and so both are more or less above the law. They don't do anything. This is what's wrong with the legal system. Even when you have judgment, there's no implementation. And of course, the oil companies know how to play around the system. So even when judgment is passed, they could appeal and keep on appealing, moving from one level to another. And they have all the time and all the money, all the lawyers to back them up. And poor communities don't have the time, they don't have the resources, and they're being punished for being host to this kind of corporation.
I wanted to ask you quickly before you go ahead. You have the BP spill in the U.S., and BP has access to some of the most powerful lawyers in the world. They have money, they have a war chest, but yet the U.S. government successfully imposed a huge amount of fines on BP. So much of that is also going to people who are directly impacted and affected. In fact, somebody was saying a few days ago that the amount of money that the U.S. government ended up having BP pay for that one particular incident is up to the budget of about 5 West African countries. And here we are. What is going to happen? How much is the judgment that favored the villagers in Nigeria? How much is Shell going to pay for that aspect, that little aspect of conviction that they got? Liability that they got from this case. How much are we looking at? How is that going to be implemented? Can you break it down to our level?
Well, sure. I think you are leveling. We are at the same level. So now, let me just comment on the BP issue in the United States and how much they've been gotten to pay, and also how much they are ready to pay. That's system is quite interesting because the government was very strong on BP to a large extent, although there are also gaps there.
Yes.
But in Nigeria, the judgment against Shell with regard to Coronado, we don't yet have an idea how much the settlement would be. But you remember that Shell also has been found guilty, more or less, or has said guilty in the case of the spill in Bodo that occurred 2008 and 2009, and that case is in the UK. And right now, I understand they're still negotiating about what they're going to do, and they're offering the people something very paltry that they would not even begin to look at. So we are expecting a long struggle with regard to what they're going to pay to the other people. They're going to be kicking and screaming and pretending, of course, trying to show that they are not really guilty of anything. They've become masters in spin over the years. And now, the Nigerian government did place a fine on Shell with regard to Bonga oil spill. Bonga oil spill occurred in December 2011. And that spill was Shell accepted. According to Shell, they said 40,000 barrels of crude oil were spilled. We believe that it was much more than, because the spill was from 100 kilometers offshore onto the coastlines of the Niger Delta, polluting a long stretch of the coastline. And the government said Shell should pay $5 billion for damages for that. Now, when Chevron had a major gas rig explosion earlier in January 2012, and 10 kilometers offshore, that destroyed the ecosystem, killed whales and many other aquatic life forms, the government placed a fine of $3 billion on Chevron. But both Chevron and Shell just laughed off, saying that the government has no authority to pay. And I was so shocked to hear, to read a report today, quoting the Senate Committee Chairman on Environment as saying that the fines were unconstitutional. Now, I would not like to believe that this is what was actually said, but I'm yet to verify what the situation was. But if the senators are saying that what the government, the executive did is unconstitutional, then you can imagine that Shell will have a ball right now celebrating somewhere that, look, they have truly got the system in their pocket. So the people in all cases in Nigeria are the victims. The people and the environment are the victims. This is why the fight is very desperate. And we really have to, we're fighting tooth and nail to ensure that these corporations don't keep on operating double standards, doing things in Nigeria that they won't dare do anywhere near their own homeland.
Yes, let's ask, because this is not a Chevron matter alone. There are several, companies in Nigeria, and all of them almost are involved in this spilling of oil and destruction of the environment, devastation of farmlands, ecosystem. We've had ExxonMobil also has been having spills in Ibeno coastline for, almost the last 4 years continuously. Tell us, what is the volume of spill that Nigeria environment or the shoreline, offshore, onshore gets averagely on an annual basis from these multinational oil corporations?
Well, you talk about millions of tons and several barrels of crude oil being spilled into the Nigerian environment on a regular basis.
Yes.
In fact, if we go by statistics, we have an average of one new oil spill every day in the Niger Delta. So it's very enormous. And I mean, by rough estimates, it is said that we have equivalent of one Exxon Valdez oil spill in the Niger Delta every year. And this is going on for, as you know, about 54 years and pushing on to 55 years. So it's been a huge quantity of crude oil being dumped into the Niger Delta environment. The Niger Delta environment is reputed as one of the most polluted places on earth. And by my estimation, some of those communities, some of the environment actually have been killed. They are not likely going to ever recover, except maybe in a very long time to come by natural processes. Because as far as we see now, there's no deep resolve or effort at any level to restore the environment. Take, for example, the assessment of the Ogoni environment by the United Nations Environment Program.
Yes.
They produced a report that showed that the Ogoni environment, all the waters in Ogoni land are polluted. And some places with benzene, which is a cancer-causing agent, up to 900 times above World Health Organization standard. And the soil in some places in Ogoni land are polluted to a depth of 5 meters. I mean, that is enormous. 5 meters, about 15 feet plus.
Yeah.
As far as you can dig into the ground, you find the land is polluted. And sadly or shockingly, or of course realistically, UNEP said that it will require continuous cleaning of the water, about 25 years to clean up the water and 5 years to clean the land. And the land has to be cleaned before the water. So you talk about the cumulative stretch of time of 30 years to clean up Ogoni land. And life expectancy in that region, in the oil fields of Nigeria, is 41 years. So you talk about people who've been born in pollution, living in pollution, continuously polluted, and they've not known anything except pollution. I mean, this is a crime against humanity.
People will ask you, does the Nigerian nation have a Ministry of Environment? Do they have organizations that are supposed to monitor, all of the activities, the environmental activities of the oil companies? Is there any regulation in place? Are there regulators? Are there, do you have an environmental police in Nigeria that can even raise a finger on these matters?
Yeah, we have an agency called the Nigerian Oil Spills Detection and Response Agency,
Yes.
which is from the Ministry of Environment. And it's their duty to monitor what is going on and to ensure that there's a response to those incidents. And they say the problem with that agency is that they're not properly equipped or funded. So in terms of monitoring things happening offshore, they have to depend on facilities of the polluters that they're supposed to be monitoring.
Wow.
That makes it really difficult.
No, that's what repeating that, the environmental police relies on, the facilities of the polluters, their helicopters, their boats to go and monitor their pollution. Wow.
That's what is going on, and we are campaigning that agency should be properly funded. And there's an effort by some senators and the National Assembly to review the law setting up that agency, both to have it better equipped and also to give it some authority to penalize those who engage in pollution. So we actually support that move, and we only hope that after it's passed, there also be the will to enforce the regulation. So and we also have, in terms of the Ogoni situation, there was supposed to be an agency set up to focus on cleaning up Ogoni land so that it can be done systematically. Then on the eve of one first anniversary of the UNEP report was on the shelf for up to 1 year and nothing was done. The government set up what is known as hydrocarbon pollution restoration project in the Ministry of Petroleum Resources. And now the Ministry of Petroleum Resources is a polluter. The Nigerian Petroleum Corporation is one of the biggest polluters in the Nigerian environment. So we talk about Shell and Chevron and ExxonMobil. We have to also talk about the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. They pollute heavily. If you go to Warri in Delta State, you see the impact of the refinery on the communities. And some people can't open their windows because of what is known as carbon black coming out from the petrochemical there.
Wow.
And then if you go to Port Harcourt and what's going on around the refineries there, it's very massive pollution. So, my brother, what we have here is an environmental emergency. It is not a thing to be kid gloves. It's something that requires real serious attention. This is why I find it very funny when governors are fighting over what they call excess crude funds. And every month they talk about how much money they're going to get. All the money that Nigeria has gotten from oil over the years may not be enough to clean up the Niger Delta.
Wow.
And if we now to invest in cleanup, in auditing the environment of the Delta, and indeed of the entire Nigerian nation, because pipeline explosions, a lot of it is happening in Ogun State these days and also around Lagos.
Yes.
If nothing is done, we are sentencing our children and grandchildren to a rather desperate and unacceptable situation.
Let me ask you one question, which is very political. The Niger Delta people, were very, very happy when their son, so to speak, became president. Yeah, in your own assessment, has it made any difference that the man who is president is from Niger Delta with a PhD in zoology? He should know a little bit about animals, if not plants. Has it made any difference? Has it brought any of his experience of having been walking around without shoes, without gas stations, without schools, hospitals, has it brought to bear? Has the Niger Delta generally become a better place since their son became president? Question.
Sure, I thought you were going to ask me whether it has made a difference, and I would say yes, because in terms of in terms of demanding for the rights and so on, this has gone down because you have your brother as the president who want to rock the boat.
Yes.
For example, when there was petroleum subsidy uprising a year ago, we found that it was very suppressed in the region where the president comes from. So that is an impact, I would say. But in terms of environmental restoration, or saying yes, we got a glimmer of light that something is happening. The gas flaring is going on, pollution is still going on. People are still drinking toxic water. They're still farming in toxic lands. They're still the air they breathe is not free. So I would say that I would need a microscope search to see whether there's a positive difference.
Well, Mr. Nemo Bassey is a very notable environmental activist from Nigeria. And one question that I will ask, which is somehow self-serving, is that someone that you and I know, Oronto Douglas was your deputy. You know, there was a time we used to think that Oronto would be the next Ken Saro-Wiwa, of blessed memory. And he's in government today. He's in charge of research and strategy. And you would think that, having known all these issues, analyze it, psychoanalyze it, and, campaign about this issue all over the world, he will be a voice in government, a lightning in the offices of the president to make sure that this thing is done. Have you heard from Oronto since he got into Aso Rock? Have you spoken to him? Do you think he's doing anything at all about this issue?
Don't worry. Why do you ask me a question like this?
That's why I said it's self-serving. I'd already reported myself before I made that inquiry.
Oronto is an environmentalist, my friend, where we talk, and I would tell you that there's very little that one person can do in a system. We have a system problem that needs to be treated holistically.
Yes.
I mean, you could also ask me, you have Ken Saro-Wiwa's son in the presidency. So are these not people who know what is going on? But I think the situation is overwhelming. We need a broader attack on these issues.
Yes. Well, Nemo, thank you so much for coming on Sahara TV today to discuss the verdict of the Dutch court on environmental pollution carried out by Royal Dutch Shell Company. We have to thank you, regardless, for your work, that you have remained very consistent and resolute in helping to shine the light on every corner of the devastation of the environment in Nigeria and around the world. Because I know not only do you do this in Nigeria, I hear from, Ecuador, Uganda. In fact, everywhere there's discovery of oil, you are one of the first people to get there to warn the people that they're about to mortgage their future. So
wherever they find oil, it's been declaring war against the people.
I'm telling you, thank you so much for coming. And we'd love to have you back as soon as possible to discuss so much more about these issues regarding oil exploration in Nigeria and the rest of the world. Thank you.
Thank you for making this possible.
All right. Thank you, viewers. It's been Nemo Bassey of the Environmental Rights Action, Friends of the Earth, Nigeria. We urge you not to go away. There's a whole lot more in stock for you today. I've been told that our video, which encapsulated Femi Kuti's trip to New York, is available already. So, and a lot more from our people on the ground and our analysts to talk about the immigration reform going on in the U.S. You don't want to miss any of this. Please do not go away. We'll be back.
If you're not informed,
if you don't know where you come from, you will never find where you're going.
When Nigeria is working, we will all know.
PDP and